Welcome to Music Guru, where rock and metal never die and every classic note still matters. Today we're talking about a story that might be the actual origin of Led Zeppelin, or it might be just another rock and roll myth. And I'm counting on you to sort out fact from fiction and help us out when it comes to this really compelling story. In 1968, British folk rock star Donovan released his haunting, electric sitar-laced hit, Hurdy-Gurdy Man. But buried inside that swirling track is one of classic rock's greatest unsolved mysteries. According to Donovan himself, the song was originally meant to feature a guest guitar solo by none other than Jimi Hendrix. And a lot of this information comes from an article that recently appeared over at guitarworld.com by Matt Owen. Now here's the story. Donovan wanted to get Jimi Hendrix to play lead guitar on the song Hurdy-Gurdy Man, but since Jimi Hendrix wasn't available, the producer of the track, Mickey Most, suggested that they bring in a then largely unknown studio guitar player, Jimmy Hay. So Jimi Hendrix was going to come in and do a solo on the song, but since he was busy, he couldn't make it. Donovan says that the legendary producer Mickey Most turned to a young studio ace, Jimmy Page, and that's where things get interesting. For decades, fans and music historians have speculated that Page played the scorching guitar line on the track. Some even claim that John Bonham and John Paul Jones were in the room too, making this an early uncredited Led Zeppelin lineup months before the band officially formed. Sound too good to be true? Jimmy Page himself thinks so. He's denied ever playing on the track flat out. And in fact, I remember an episode of Rockline that Page did long ago where he was asked directly, did he play on Hurdy-Gurdy Man? And he said he did not play on the track. Since there's no studio log, contract, or tape that proves that Bonham was even near the session, we can pretty much assume that he wasn't there either. And most people credit session player Alan Parker for guitar and Clem Catini on drums. So why does this rumor persist? Could memories have blurred, or was there an impromptu session that no one officially documented? Or is it possible that one of the greatest supergroups in history really did first jam together on a psychedelic folk hit? One thing that I find really interesting is that Donovan himself says it's a really lucky break that Hendrix wasn't available and that Page had to come in because the direction of the track entirely changed. Instead of becoming a blues-based track, it became a Celtic pagan track, according to Donovan. And this set the standard for a lot of different kinds of rock-embellished Celtic music that flowed through the British bands in the 60s and early 70s. So what do you think? Do you think that Jimmy Page played on Hurdy-Gurdy Man? Do you think that John Paul Jones played on the track as well? Do you think Bonham was present? Or is this just another case of rock legend gone wild? Drop your theories in the comments, and if you have any info or references that most people haven't heard of, go ahead and leave links to those, because it would be really interesting to have a definitive answer to this question for once. And personally, I think that I'm going to go with whatever Page said. I think that had Page played on a track early on prior to Led Zeppelin that featured John Paul Jones and John Bonham, he would be the first person to talk about it. He would be the first one to dig through the archives to find the evidence to prove it. He would be the one who would be the most excited about it. The fact that, to my memory and from what I know from reading and listening to a ton of Page interviews, he says he didn't play on the track. So personally, for now, until I see evidence to the contrary, I'm going to stick with that. This is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.
Music Guru here, asking you to help us on our march to 10,000 subscribers.